Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today we are going to be going over the Warlord class event. So this is pretty much the first class that anyone in the game would unlock, since it's from Broken Spire, and you end up completing out Broken Spire basically during the tutorial, and then you need to go unlock Arena anyway, so pretty much first class everyone unlocks. As far as the event itself, we are quite limited in what we can use, because this kingdom does not have a lot of giants. We have these 7 troops, and almost all of them are horrible. Various ways that you can do this is run Mang in first slot, run Flame Troll, and go with that. You can run a bunch of Ettins and use their attack buff when they're fully empowered and just try killing them with that kind of attack. Maybe using some kind of alternative weapon to help support them. And that's about it. Maybe use Gog and Good for like one shot if you can off of how much gold you end up accumulating, and then you could one shot it off of its 50% chance, because it does it based on how much gold it has. But there aren't too many options, so what I ended up going with is using the only yellow from this kingdom, which is Gob Trumper, with a Dawnbringer. Dawnbringer does do additional damage per yellow that is on our team, so that's additional 6 damage. On top of that, even though there are no goblins in any of these battles, he does start with Empowered, and that is still a okay amount of damage, even without it being a goblin. So we could basically just spam that into Dawnbringer and basically kill things out that way. And yeah, definitely not the greatest. It's definitely not an event I would really bother going too far with, unless you just want to go and, of course, just get the leaderboard to get some orbs. But as far as actually getting class XP for this thing, it is not really too worth getting. Out of all the classes in the game, I would say it is towards one of the weaker ones. One really unique thing that this hero class does have going for it, though, is it has the highest single target damage of any hero class in the game. It's also okay to be using from an early game perspective. When you're first starting out, with how early it's accessible, it's definitely worth using for those initial levels, though I do highly advise eventually switching over to a Titan or literally anything else other than this class, because it does start to lose value as it goes through. But it does have a really unique combination in that, other than gaining the most amount of attack and various buffs off of its perks and such from any hero class, it also ends up having the highest single target damage of any hero class, technically, if you don't count instant kills, because it ends up having a 4.5 times damage. It gets 1.5 times from its enrage off of one of its traits, and then it gets an additional 3 times from the fact that it does additional damage versus burning. Unfortunately, both of those are all the way towards the end of its leveling, but it does technically have a higher amount of damage. But as you can see, that's that. Let's actually go into the perks. Of course, now to get to your hero menu, for any of you that don't know, you just click in the top left corner, and it ends up bringing you here. So let's go over Warlord. As far as Warlord, it counts as a pure red. Both its mastery is red, as well as the extra damage that ends up giving. It counts as a Broken Spire Giant, which isn't really too relevant, because as you saw there aren't really too many good Broken Spire Giants. So not much to use it with. The only thing particularly good from Broken Spire, for the most part, is Infernus. But as far as the actual hero class, as far as perks, it's pretty underwhelming. Only gains 1 life for every red ally, only gains 1 attack whenever it takes damage, and it gets 3 additional attack when it deals skull damage, though keep in mind with this particular trait, it only triggers if he is in first slot. If your hero is in any other slot other than first and you take a skull, you will not end up gaining 3 attack, so that is first slot dependent. As far as its perks, it's okay. It's mainly all attack related, of course. You can then get either 4 attack anywheres or 5 attack in PvP. And now that we're switching back to PvP, we'll switch back to that. You can go for either the counter attack for extra 2 attack on top of your 1. So basically, if you have this 3 additional attack every single time you take damage on your HP, or you can just go for the fireproof. Other than that, you can either burn a random enemy, or basically that's it, because these other 2 are basically never going to be used. Normally, you'd use the +1 extra glory, though if you want to, you can also start with the Firestorm, and if you really, really want to, I guess EXP wouldn't be horrible, but more often than not, you're going to go for that 1 additional glory. Other than that, you would normally go for +2 to all stats, though if you're not using your hero in first slot, using the gain 3 attack whenever an enemy dies can also be fine with that one. Other than that, then when you start getting to the actual components of why you would even bother using this hero class if you were in the first place, and that would be for the enrage into the triple skull damage. And this right here is pretty much where 90% of the value of this hero class really comes from if you were to ever use it. Of course, unfortunately, I don't have either of them unlocked. Quite a few people probably do out there, because a lot of people don't bother switching from their initial hero class. Definitely do eventually, but this combo right here is basically the whole purpose of this hero class. 4.5 times skull damage, highest skull damage of any hero class if you don't count instant kills. Technically, Assassin overall does do more damage if you do count the instant kill, but ignoring that, this has the highest single target, so it has that going for it. So let's go over 2 teams, one really early game, since this is a early game hero class, and one towards late game that assumes you have burning. This one is the one that assumes you have burning. Of course we don't, but it still will work. Interceptor, Forest Guardian, Divine Ishbala, and Infernus. Infernus is to be able to get those burns. You could go Yarrow if you don't end up having it. And, of course, if you do end up having that final trait, it is very, very useful to end up having those burns, because those burns will allow you to actually do triple damage. And right here, we actually got Entangled. And that's somewhat bad, because I just realized we don't have a cleanse on this team anymore. Retreat. This team no longer has cleanse, because Divine Ishbala does not have cleanse anymore this patch, so that's unfortunate. And we go right into another Entangle. Can we find a real team? Okay, I'll go waste a gem here. Elamagrim, Skull Spam, I guess we'll go against that, why not? Do have to be careful about Elamagrim when you're using a Skull Spam team, because he does lower down your attack by a lot, but we should be fine here. So right off the bat, we're going to want to get Forest Guardian up as quickly as possible, get alignment, and go from there. If we can get Scolder Strikes, that would be fine, because since we don't actually have triple damage, we can actually utilize that aspect, even though the team is set up to do so. But all we have to do now, hopefully have alignment on one of these two. We should on one of them. Why does it look like we do not? I don't believe we do. So we'll need to go and move something, and then hopefully have alignment after that. And that does not secure us alignment. We could go for it anyways and just hope it doesn't go badly. And I think that's what we're going to do, because I don't see any move otherwise. So we'll go to that. That rolling. Hopefully have the purple alignment here. We don't have the green because we kind of just converted it out. And it doesn't look like we have the full purple either, so we can still use Infernus to do board clear, or Yarrow if we're going to go down that route, if you don't end up having an Infernus. Our first lot ends up dying. No, you're our whole team. Come back. But I think we have the cycle now. And once you start getting the cycle, it's pretty much over. You can just keep looping back between the two of them. Definitely not the greatest of board, though. But we'll go for this again. We still have the extra turn that's sitting there. Get the other one over. Hopefully have the purple alignment here. We have it for a single skull. It's going to give him another one over there, though. We don't even have the green, so we'll move that over. That still doesn't really give it to us, unfortunately. But I think we'll still go for it just to get something down. And hopefully Cascade. And we actually do get the Cascade, and then we just need the double skull. But, yeah, Warlord, decent attack. Not really something you use much, though. Titan is better, and Dragonguard is better. Titan does Giant and Enrage better, and Dragonguard does the burning aspect better. Main reason being that even though Dragonguard doesn't technically have actual attack gains, it does have that 20% additional damage based on its armor, and the fact that it gets to protect that armor with a barrier and everything, it just has better traits in general, makes it quite a bit of a better alternative compared to this hero class. But as far as an early game option, might need to go to the middle battle just so we have a little bit more adequate stats for what we're about to be using. But Mang, Deep Boar, Ranger, and Rock Spirit. And if you don't have Mang, you can go and temporarily use Crude Club as the alternative until you do have that. But extremely early game with pretty much just the classic Deep Boar, Ranger, Rock Spirit. I haven't actually used this on my newer account because we actually got lucky enough to get a Zephyrus, but normally if you don't pick up a Zephyrus in early game, this is still among one of the better triple combos in the game. There's still a lot of other stuff that you can use below level 50, below level 100, but this is definitely one of the nicer ones. And of course you get the this hero class itself, you get it as early as like level 15 or so, so you get it super early in the game, so it's really easy to end up building something specifically around it. But we'll go through this all the way to the side here. Hopefully get our brown rolling. We did hit extra turn, so we'll get that all the way to max. Just throw a bunch of split damage down. We can take that skull too. That will get the kill up front, but that's going to be so overkill. So we're not going to bother. We'll just do this right there. Get a lot of mana, get a lot of hit. And now if we find a skull, we'll go for it. I do want to get a Mang in there, though, just to get our attack up. Or we could do Crude Club, of course. But we'll do Mang in this instance. That will give us a little bit more attack so that everything now goes into one-shot range. And now we just need to get things rolling again. Another Rock Spirit, clear that out so we don't waste as much skull. And pretty much just go from there. So we'll take the brown down. He will get a summon, but it's low enough stats that shouldn't be too big of an issue. We'll just go do this on a highly brown populated area, which seems to be right there. Get a nice little hit. Looks like he gets a skull. That thing's going to die again, aren't you? Luckily, we have Ranger. We're going to go clear that out if we need, which we definitely need to. And let's see, how much Ranger damage do we have? 24, so we'll just probably do it there. That should clear it out. No, the split damage, I keep forgetting, actually is quite low. So in that case, we'll probably want to do the Rock Spirit just to guarantee kill that, and then do the Ranger. And then that should be the kill. And do we lose our hero this time? I think we will. Yep. Oh no! He survived with 2 HP, ever so barely. Behemoth buff, by the way. Behemoth does now gain... actually, I haven't really gotten to use it or see it yet, but yeah, Behemoth does have an interesting new change to him, in that he gains a ridiculously high amount of attack or HP now every single time you extra turn with it. It now gains 10 HP, which is pretty nice, combined with the fact that it has Impervious. So a pretty tanky troop now, to a point where it might actually be viable to bother bringing out of hiding. It's been hibernating for forever now, so Could finally use it again. We'll go to that, kill it, and even if that wasn't the kill, we still had an extra turn there. And apparently, we did some kind of task. So we got 3 glory keys as well, and an ultra rare ingot. But anyways, guys, if you still have any other questions about the hero class, let me know. But basically, it is Titan and Dragonguard would be the 2 replacements. I would personally not really advise using Warlord. It's okay when you're first starting out. Once you reach level 50 or so, I would probably retire it for a better hero class, though, and start working towards something else. Definitely not one I would really bother keeping, since other hero classes do what it does even better. And as you saw from the event thing, there just isn't really any giants within the kingdom to synergize with it. And even if you were to use a giant team, you would much rather have Titan's 50% mana start to all giants than the Warlord, which has literally no benefit to giants other than the fact that he counts as a giant. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.